Welcome back to Tiny Book Club, where we discuss, analyze, and obsess over fantasy books one chapter at a time. We're your hosts, Michayla,
Raely,
Poonam,
and Paeton.
And today we are diving into Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. We will be discussing specific events from the first book in this episode, and we also plan to cover the entire 8-book series in the next several episodes.
This book took me by surprise because of how much I disliked it, to be quite honest. The first one, and I think this happens a lot with Sarah J Maas books, the first one is not always the most action-packed. It's very much for world building. If anybody has read ACOTAR, that first book is the same way. And I did not like the first ACOTAR book either. You kind of just have to push through.
I liked it when I was in it, like the first time I read it. I can't go back and do it again, but I did love it the first time I read it. And
like I know skip this book on a reread.
I mean, I already did reread it, but I know Ray and I enjoyed it. And
yes,
I think that was because, at least for me, it's like so essential to the knowledge of later books that like if you don't read it, I don't know, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did like it. I think getting to know Celaena a little bit better, and like obviously you meet all the characters, and I don't know, I just think that I didn't have super high I kind of had high expectations going in, but I think for the whole series, not for that specific book. You know,
my expectations were like nothing, so I was like, I'm gonna enjoy it more than what everybody is saying because they were all like, it's terrible. And so, or it's boring. And so I expected it to be written by a 16-year-old and boring, but it wasn't. I honestly, there was no parts that I was bored. So
yeah, it is pretty, it picks up pretty quickly, I feel like.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that happens.
If I hadn't been warned that the first one is a little bit slower, I probably would not have continued with the series.
Interesting.
Never
interesting.
I would have been like, okay,
I do not finish.
It's funny because there's a specific they're sisters that I follow, and they love Throne of Glass, like the series, but specifically the first book has been one they talk about. So I think I went into it expecting it to be super good, and it didn't let me down or anything, but I just didn't understand the hype that they had for it, you know?
Yeah. I felt the same way when I read ACOTAR, the first book. It took me like months to read it, and then I didn't want to keep reading the rest of the series, and somebody made me eventually.
That is insane.
I was like, the first one sucked. What are you talking about? It was only good the last 100 pages.
So fast.
Like every fantasy
I've heard
book.
that. Yeah, I've heard that too.
Honestly, my expectations are low for everything. Like I go into everything thinking, we'll see. And I will never do not finish a book ever. Like I will finish anything. Yeah. It could be the worst and I'll finish it.
I had no idea what the series was even about. I knew it was about like an assassin. I didn't know like any details at all. Yeah, so I think going in, I just kind of had zero expectations, at least low expectations. Before we get started, be sure to follow our Instagram at Tiny Book Club Pod and rate this podcast.
Okay, we will be discussing Throne of Glass in this episode today. It is the first book of the series that was published. There is a little bit of a debate about the reading order, but we read this series in publication order. The author is Sarah J Maas. The genre, I would say, is epic fantasy, and there are 8 books in this series.
Okay, so now we're going to go over a little spoiler-free summary for you guys about Throne of Glass. So Throne of Glass is a young adult fantasy novel that follows Celaena Sardothien, who's a teenage assassin. She's enslaved in Endovier for a year, and she's offered a deal to earn her freedom. But in order to do so, she must compete in a tournament to become the king's champion. She must survive against the other thieves and assassins competing in the tournament while also navigating romantic tensions and uncovering dark conspiracies within the castle.
Yeah.
Okay.
We decided to read this book and this series because we are preparing for the upcoming new release of the ACOTAR book in October, and we have not read this series yet. So we're reading the entire SJM catalog.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's important to note that this series is written entirely in third person. So if any of you guys have read ACOTAR, this is different from the first 3 ACOTAR books. The series also follows several different character POVs right away, whereas ACOTAR didn't do that until later in the series.
I think the 4th one, right?
Yeah, the little
Yeah,
novella.
the little novella. But this
Yeah.
one is written entirely in third person, and I think there's 3 or 4 POVs in this first book alone. Maybe even 5.
And it's you want to note too that like it could be mid-chapter switching POVs. So it's not just like this chapter is different. Like you could literally be listening to Dorian and then bam, you'll switch to Caltaine. Like it's just random.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I think that's more difficult for audiobook listeners. Like
I was just going to say
it
that.
on the page, there's like a little break, but if you're listening to it, you're probably not going to know, right? The pacing of this first book, and I would say probably the second book as well, is a bit slow. I had a heads up going into this book. A couple friends had warned me that it was going to be slow, and I knew I was going to be in it for the long haul because it's such a long series. But I would just be prepared that it gets better. Just this first book is going to be a bit slow.
Yeah, keep your expectations low like we had, and then you'll be like blown away.
If the bar is on the floor,
you'll have a good time.
So, yeah.
And we've read most of them now, and every single book gets better. Like
it does get
consistently
a lot better.
gets better.
I would say after the first 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the first 3, I think, are technically YA novels. And then I think it moves into adult or new adult. The writing quality definitely gets better throughout.
I thought that the vibe was going to be, because when I saw competition, I was thinking like Hunger Games, like something more, a little bit, I don't think this is necessarily a spoiler, but a little bit more higher stakes. Like, I don't know why in my head, I just thought people were going to be getting killed off like in the competition. And it was going to end up being like one person that wins is like the last survivor. So like that sort of situation. I think that I've just read those sort of fantasy books before. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. So then when it was just like, oh, people go home, I was like, oh,
okay, you get to live.
Yeah.
Same. I thought it would be way more brutal also. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can do this.
I mean, there is quite a bit of murder.
Yeah, that's true. But we had just read Fourth Wing where like people were dying during sparring.
Yes. Yeah.
Everything.
And that's not really happening.
So when we come back, we'll be diving further into Throne of Glass.
This is your official spoiler warning for Throne of Glass Book 1. From this point forward, we will be discussing major plot points, character arcs, and spoilers for the end of this book. We are not going to spoil anything after the first book, so we won't start series spoilers until next week. If you have not read or finished the first book, pause this episode and come back once you have.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so we're going to go into chapter summaries. They're going to be pretty detailed so that we can get through the whole book. And then we're going to be inserting our own opinions and things in here. So here we go. We are introduced to Celaena Sardothien, Otterland's most notorious assassin who has spent the past year imprisoned in the brutal salt mines of Endovier. Survival there is nearly impossible, with most prisoners dying within a month, yet Celaena has endured. We learn that she once attempted an escape, killing her overseer and 23 guards before nearly reaching freedom. Celaena believes that she was betrayed by another assassin, which ultimately led to her capture. And her life changes when Chaol Westfall, captain of the Royal Guard, brings her before Crown Prince Dorian Havilyard. Dorian offers her a deal: compete to become the king's champion in a deadly 13-week tournament. If she wins and serves the king for 4 years, Dorian promises to secure her freedom afterwards. Okay, so we now are introduced to both Dorian and Chaol just a little bit. What are our opinions on them just after briefly meeting them?
I think I initially was just Team Chaol, like off the bat. I don't know why. And we're going to get... I'm the only one, by the way. Only one with this opinion. I honestly do think, too, that if I would have read the physical book, I think it would have been a little bit different. I think I should note that Michayla, Raely, and I are all audiobook listeners. And so I think narrators can kind of like make or break your, I guess, opinion about the characters. And I think the way that she spoke, like Dorian's voice, I don't know why it just bothered me, especially book one. I did notice that as the books went on, it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
But book one specifically, same with Kale's voice actually, but it wasn't as bad. But yeah, Dorian first, it just the way she read his part, like I just
he
couldn't do it.
sounds very like haughty, like he
Yes,
says
like
things
pompous and
yes,
Like
yeah, he's very
snooty,
arrogant,
snooty.
which
Yes.
like
da-da-da-da-da.
he
Yeah.
might have been like Dorian of all the characters probably has the most character development, I think,
Yeah.
from the first book through at least. And he goes through so much, you know? So I do think that it probably has something to do with who he becomes, because we also learn more about him in this first book, and he's perfect.
And then Kale
Yeah.
is like,
I've seen what I need to see.
yeah.
Kale
for
is
me, I
like-
feel like he's like stiff as a board. Like,
Yes,
I don't know.
yes.
Like the
I was
way
gonna
that
say-
she like speaks for him is like, I don't know, just
Yeah.
literally like
They'll be
so
walking,
monotone.
like they're on their horses. So like we open with them on their horses, right? And they're like they're leaving Endovier and they're going back to the glass castle. And the whole time she's like asking Kale questions and trying to get to know him. And he's like, you can just imagine him like sitting on his horse, like, don't talk to me.
Literally.
That's how I pictured
That's what it seems
Yeah.
like the whole time.
Yeah. Like a
Personality is
one-word
like
answer response.
wet cardboard.
Like, you're gross. Like, he looks
Yeah.
at her as if she's trash. And that is like,
Yeah.
that's what I hate.
Yeah. And okay, so going back, there it is noted that like Dorian kind of like checks her out and she's like, "Oh, you're still checking me out even when I look like this?" You know?
Just
Yeah, and
wait till
so-
I look better.
Yes. Yeah. So
And
I
we
like
know
that
she's
part.
a little arrogant. I feel like
Mhm.
Celaena is just very confident.
and
I don't know the word.
I think
continues-
she's a little bit arrogant. Yeah, you can use
Yeah.
that word.
Okay, so as Celaena adjusts to life in the glass castle, we learn more about her mysterious past. At 8 years old, she was taken in by Arabin Hamel, the king of the assassins, who found her near Frozen River and never allowed her to return to her homeland of Terrasen. We also discover that the world of Aurelia once overflowed with magic and magical creatures, but 10 years ago, the king outlawed magic, forcing the Fae to flee. And there are some hints dropped at the beginning, like not really hints, but there's like a line that says that Celaena had magic as a child. So it completely went over my head the first time. And Poonam was the one who was like, yes, you texted me. And I was like, you told me that she had magic, because it had completely gone over my head, even until part of like the second book. It was mentioned so briefly in that first
It was
part.
like a little tiny.
It's
I
like
do
one
think-
line.
Yeah, and if you're audiobook listening to it, you might not catch on and remember it. But
Yeah.
do you want me to read this part? On
Yeah.
page 31, when they are on their way from Endovier to Rifthold, we get some context about the King of Otterland banning the use of all magic 10 years ago. The passage says, verbatim, he had removed any trace of magic so thoroughly that even those who had magic in their blood almost believed it had never really existed, Celaena herself being one of them. So, you know, a little bit of foreshadowing there, but a bit further down the page, it says, it had been a while since Celaena had contemplated the gifts she'd lost, though the memory of her abilities haunted her dreams. So, they must have been, you know, powerful,
There's so many things I want to talk
powerful
about.
magical abilities.
Yes. Yeah, for her to still dream about them, and the fact that she still remembers them now 10 years later. So she would have
Magic
had
was banned.
magic for less time than she's been
Then it's been
without
gone.
it.
Yeah.
And then also, I like the note that you added in here about when they're on their way from Endovier to Rifthold, they set up camp and there's like little infant-sized footprints leading out, and there's little white flowers next to her cot from the little folks.
The first time I read that, I was like, there's babies? What is going on? What do you mean infant-sized footprints? What's going on?
I immediately thought fairies. I thought that was interesting too. And she throws in some serious foreshadowing for the rest of the series in this part.
Mhm.
Parts that matter 4 books down the road, you know, are things
Yeah.
that she's throwing in the first 2 to 3 pages of Throne of Glass,
don't
which is
understand.
wild.
I don't
I
know how
know.
she does that.
No, same. And she keeps it all in her brain. I don't like,
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's so stressful.
To be thinking
Yeah,
that
you
far
don't write
ahead, yeah.
anything down. Yeah.
Though she arrives at the castle as a contestant, Celaena is given luxurious chambers and a personal servant, Philippa Spindlehead. Dorian's father, the King of Otterlin, warns Dorian to keep his distance from her. Thankfully, he doesn't. Meanwhile, Kale gives Celaena a tour of the castle grounds, including the massive library, which reveals her deep love of reading. And she begins exchanging books and letters with Dorian, and the two slowly form a connection through their shared interest in literature. And I love this. I just love getting to, like, you're like, oh, she's an assassin. That's
Yeah.
all she is. That's her identity. It's mentioned several times where she was the greatest assassin, or she's the assassin of Otterlin. Like, that is her identity. But we learn so much about her and how she's way more than that.
Yes, and I also like how she likes the luxurious, the finer things in life.
She loves her luxuries. That
Yeah.
is for sure.
Yeah. I was like, well, she got lucky being in a castle.
And we know nothing about her past yet. So it makes you wonder, like, why does she love these luxuries? Why is she so
Yes.
accustomed to these luxuries? She loves her fancy dresses and her comfortable beds and her fireplaces. We'll find out in just a few chapters that she knows how to play the pianoforte, which is not just something that the average person knows how to play.
Yeah.
True. I love Dorian, obviously, but I loved getting to know him a little bit better in this period of the book, as him and Celaena grow closer and, like, I don't know, you just start, like, learning a little bit more pieces about him, and I really enjoyed it, and you realize that he's very caring, and there's a lot more behind the initial, I guess, person that you meet, you know? Like you said, like, kinda, like, stuck up.
Like
I don't know.
Playboy vibes too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, we also have that piece where she writes him the letter, and Kale is, like, absolutely disgusted. He's like, "You wrote him a letter? That is so unacceptable. He is the
Inappropriate.
prince." Yeah, inappropriate. And Dorian just, like, sends her a letter back immediately. Like, "Do whatever you
Yeah.
want." And I love that. He's so chill. You can tell that
Yes.
he does not wanna be
Don't switch
who
sides now,
he
Peyton.
came
Don't
from.
switch sides now.
No, I think I like him as a person. I just don't like him as a love interest.
I don't know how anyone could like Kale as a love interest, but stiff as a board, Kale. I don't break the rules. During the competition introduction, Celaena is forced to hide her true identity, and they make her go by the name Lillian Gordana. Supposedly, she is supposed to be the daughter of a wealthy merchant and a jewel thief, and kind of like disowned by her dad. We find out that contestants are going to face weekly tests with eliminations leading up to a final duel between the last 4 competitors. And then we're also introduced to several important characters in the next couple of chapters. So we meet Lady Caltaine Rompier, and we find out that she immediately dislikes Celaena because she wants to marry Prince Dorian. And then we learn about the other competitors. So we learn about Kane, who's Duke Parrington's champion. We learn about Xavier, a master thief. We learn about Knox, Grave, and Paylor, and they're both fellow assassins. And then there are also several murderers and criminals. I love in this chapter, like, when we're reading her inner monologue, she says something about, like, oh, I've never heard of, when she's talking about Grave and Paylor, she's like, I've never heard of those names. They must not be
Yeah, she's like
world-class
like, "Who?"
assassins. Yeah, they
Oh
must
my
not
God.
be
Literally.
good ones.
Yeah.
And I love that because she's so confident. Like, again,
She
she's
is.
also very arrogant.
not questioning that she's the best.
So one of the most significant relationships begins. This is when I think the book starts to get really fun, is when Celaena meets Princess Nehemia Yitger of Eelway. And I just love Nehemia. And in this part, Celaena can speak Eelway. Immediately, she starts speaking it to Nehemia, and they bond right away over their dislike of Caltaine. And I think that's funny because start talking about Caltaine behind her back while they're literally right in front of her, and just start this immediate friendship. And so Nehemia becomes one of her first true allies in the castle. Then throughout these chapters, the story establishes the dangerous political atmosphere of Otterland, Celaena's complicated past, and the beginning of several important relationships that will shape the rest of the novel. So now that we've been introduced to a lot of the big players in this game here, we can kind of discuss the characters and who we like.
I immediately did not like Caltaine. Like, she just bothered me.
Well, yeah.
I loved the part where Nehemia and Celaena are like talking behind her back. That part was I almost put that as my favorite part because it's funny. And also, I feel like Kale is also like, "What are you guys talking about?"
He's like
Of
super
What does it like to
annoyed.
be left out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
You can
it
just
gives
picture him
Celaena like
standing
an
there
edge.
glaring.
Did you guys? I almost had a hard time liking Celaena at first. It took me probably half of the first book to really be like, okay, I can root for her and be on her team.
Yeah, I think I still have a hard time.
Okay, yeah, you do
I was gonna
actually.
say, it was the opposite where I liked
Mhm.
her more, and then as the series has gone on, I've
Yes,
started to
yeah,
like her less.
Really?
yes.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that too. I actually, especially in Empire of Storms, that's where it really was my turning point, I think, where I was like, ooh, but I like Celaena a lot in the first 2 books, 3 books. And obviously we know, now that we know her backstory, we know everything about her, it's really hard to not feel for her, but
Mhm.
she does what she wants. She doesn't really care about anybody
Yeah,
else's
we're
opinion.
She makes no
definitely gonna have a lot to
apologies.
say.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she make no apologies. She almost doesn't take accountability for her actions a lot of times, and that absolutely kills me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that also, like we said, that there's different reading orders, and there's people who will read Assassin's Blade first because technically the storyline is before Throne of Glass. And I think if we would have read that one first, I would have had that opinion right away,
From the
because
jump.
in that book she just really bothered me. Just some of her decision making was, obviously we'll talk about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just think if we read that one first, it definitely would have swayed my opinion on her. But I did like her in this book, and then like Raely said, as the series goes on, I think I got a little bit more irritated each book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She makes a lot of like executive decisions and doesn't include people, and that irritates me because I'm like,
Yeah.
it would be so much better if you included these people so that you had help in what
Mhm.
like it's
Yeah.
just irritating.
The fun thing about this series and us covering it first is that there is a lot of change just book to book. The
Mhm.
setting, like there's a lot of change, and your POVs that you get, the new characters you're introduced to. So I think it's a really good one to start with.
Yeah. So for hot takes of characters, we obviously have that Paeton like Dorian in this book. Um
She's a Kale sympathizer.
yeah.
I also think that he comes off as a little bit of an asshole, and like we all know, I like a little bit of an asshole
He
character.
doesn't come off as just an asshole. He comes off as an asshole with zero personality. He's like, whatever Dorian wants, Dorian gets. And that's all I care about. And Celaena, you suck. Everybody else sucks.
He's trying to have fun. He's like, no fun allowed. Like he's a fun
Yeah.
sucker for sure.
Yeah.
He is.
He's
a
like,
fun
you are
sucker.
not allowed to do that.
I know.
I think in the
Straight to
re-listen,
jail.
I might have a different opinion. I didn't re-listen to the whole thing, so I don't know. I just think honestly, it was just the narrator with Dorian. Like I said, if I read the physical book, I really do think that I would have had a different opinion.
One thing when Nehemia and Celaena become friends and Dorian finds out that they're like hanging out and he's like, oh no, we can't have that. Like I was kind of surprised by that, but then obviously he goes back and he's like, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But Celaena like stands her ground. She's like, no, well, actually Nehemia too, that was the main opinion that mattered to him. Was Nehemia was like, no, she's my friend. Like, we're gonna be friends whether you like it or not. They both like stood up to
Yeah.
him.
Especially when they're sparring. And he's like, that's not
I
allowed.
was just
Yeah.
And Nehemia,
Or-
he's like, you have to listen to me. I'm a princess. And he's like, oh, okay, just as long as it's not like Miss Slum Pants Celaena. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to anything she says.
Yes.
I think,
So-
isn't there a part where Dorian comes in and she's sparring? I think it's with Nox or someone, and Kale's like, yeah, they've been doing like after hours sparring, and he's like, oh, I'm surprised you're allowing that, or something like that. There's a couple times when Dorian has.
Are you knocking
moments.
Dorian again, Peyton?
I'm like, okay.
I'm like, he has some moments where he does that too. Okay.
It's true. He does, and I think too, we will find out there's
Don't talk about my
moments
boy like that. What
I
are you
know.
doing?
where he won't let her do things, and Dorian as well. And I think it's because she's like Otterland's most notorious assassin, and so they don't fully trust her.
Which is fair.
But yeah,
Well, and
it's fair.
also the other characters don't know who she is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like to the other
Mhm.
people, she is Lady Lillian, and
Yes.
no one knows that she's Celaena.
No.
So
She
Yeah.
steals
that's-
jewels. That's all. That's
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
Yeah. And one of the other characters that we met is Celaena. And
Yes.
I think there is a lot of hate for Celaena in the beginning, but poor Celaena. I mean, Celaena is just used and abused.
yeah.
Oh.
It definitely fully changes your opinion after
Yeah.
the first book. You're definitely like, ugh, and
Yeah.
then you learn, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for
And
her.
you're like, I want to
Yeah.
give her a hug.
yeah.
The competition inside the glass castle grows increasingly dangerous as several competitors begin dying under mysterious and brutal circumstances. The first victim, Bill Chastain, is discovered ripped apart, creating fear among the champions and raising suspicions that something unnatural may be stalking the castle. Ripped apart, that is brutal.
I think
Yeah.
he's the one that we were
And
talking about
disgusting.
earlier that
Yeah,
dismembers
like-
people.
Yes.
And he ironically was dismembered.
He was dismembered for sure.
Ew.
This is like the first time in the book when you're like, oh, this might not just be like a little competition. There might be like something underlying happening here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
I feel like it starts getting good because there's a piece of mystery, which I love. That you're
Mhm.
like, okay,
Yeah.
now what? You know, like you're just waiting
The
to figure out
stakes are
what's going on.
higher.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a little bit more stressed out.
As the story progresses, Celaena begins forming stronger connections with those around her. She helps Knox Owen improve his training, showing kindness beneath her assassin's reputation. At the same time, Cale opens up about his own past. He reveals that he has been friends with Dorian since childhood, but at 13, his father forced him to return to Aniel. Rather than inherit his title as Lord, Cale gave it up to his brother and returned to Rifthold to train with the captain of the guard. So that's how he becomes captain of the guard, we learn in that piece of the book.
Because he gives that up and everything, you can tell he is such a good friend to Dorian. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
even
do
though
you think
he's
he's a
annoying.
little bit codependent?
They're
No.
both codependent. Let's
feel
be
they
honest.
are.
They
A
do
little bit
everything
codependent.
together.
Yeah.
I saw a meme that was like introducing Cale and Dorian, and it was it was the one that you sent, and it
Yeah.
was like they're like a married couple because everything together.
This is me and my boyfriend.
Yes. But I love that. They're so cute. They've been best friends since they were little, and he gave up his lordship so that he could like stay and essentially
Yes.
Stay and hang out with
stay
his
and
best
be
friend.
yes, but he did it because he wants to stay and be the king's guard, for Dorian when he ends up being
Yes.
king, which I think is so
Yes.
sweet. So,
Yeah, he cares about him and wants to protect him, and
yeah. So +1 for Cale.
I was gonna say 1 point.
Just one.
No, that is sweet. He has a good heart.
Yeah, he does.
Can we admit that?
No.
Yes,
Not
He
right
doesn't have
now.
a good heart.
he has
His
I don't
intentions
know.
are good.
Yes, I was gonna say
He
his
just has
intentions
an
are
internal
good.
battle.
You guys
Yeah.
giving your
That's
You don't know what he's
true.
been through.
to go protect your friend
His dad
who lives in a
sucks,
glass
okay?
castle? I don't
His
know.
dad was horrible. I hated his
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know,
his dad
dad
did
is
suck.
the
Like,
worst.
ew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ew.
But luckily, Dorian is like family to him, so
I know.
he's fine.
He's all he needs.
Yeah.
They probably share a bedroom. We don't know.
Celaena also begins sharing pieces of her own painful history. She reveals that her parents died when she was 8 years old and shows scars on her right hand broken by Arab Hamel. So she would learn to fight equally well with her left hand. We also learn more about the abuse she suffered in Endovier, including the scars left across her back from repeated whippings.
Yeah, so we can talk a little bit about her internal conflict because we find out that she comes from Terrasen, one of the northern areas. The king took over the whole continent. He took the magic. He destroyed a lot of her people and everything.
Terrasen was the first territory he took over also.
I mean, we know
He
that
just
she hates
ransacked
him.
the place.
And she is going to be doing the dirty work for somebody that she absolutely hates for 4 years before she's going to gain her freedom. And she has to kill anybody that he wants killed. So I do think that
Yes.
that's like a huge internal conflict because she's doing this because she's literally going to die in the mines if she stays there, or she has to do something she really doesn't want to do for 4 whole years and then she gets to be free. So I think that's a huge
4
internal
years is a
conflict.
long time
That is a really long
And I
time.
think
to be just killing anyone.
didn't she bargain? Wasn't it originally like 5 or 6 years, and
I
she
think it was
bargained?
6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
think it was
Dorian was
6.
like, well, you're hot, so I'll give you 4.
Yeah.
We'll knock a
Not
couple
really,
years off.
He's like, I'll be benefiting from this. No.
Exactly.
No,
And
but
then-
on that
yeah.
note, as the book progresses, she goes from initially like, okay, how can I get out of here? I mean, she's not actively trying, obviously, she's trying to win the competition, but through the relationships that she makes, like through her friendship with Nehemia, and then obviously getting closer to Dorian and Kale too, like her and Kale obviously form a relationship, then I feel like she just is like, all right, I'm just gonna go with the flow, like it's not that bad here. And kind of just, was like, just accepts it a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think she does show a lot of growth, and you see so much more growth throughout the series because she's going by Lily and Gordana right now, and so it's hard for her to make any growth as someone who's not actually themselves.
The first test is an archery competition. Although Celaena is clearly one of the most skilled contestants, she deliberately holds back because Kale warns her not to appear too threatening too early in the competition. Tension in the castle continues to rise when another competitor attempts to escape and is immediately executed by the guards.
Okay, I love this
I
part.
do think
Kale's
that
like, don't show off.
I think that's
Yeah.
a good strategy for like longevity of the competition, but obviously she was very annoyed by that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Just have to win.
someone already got murdered, and so Kale's
already-
like, please, I don't want you to get murdered.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
And so it makes sense, but she
Mhm.
is not happy about that. She loves her title of
She likes to win.
Otterlin's assassin. Like, she is number
Yes.
1 and she wants to keep that.
Uh-huh.
So to her, it's like embarrassing. I put in here that she is like, got that. If you're not first, you're last mentality. And
Yes.
she's not getting
And,
over that anytime soon.
I would say she doesn't quite follow Kale's direction when it comes
No.
to like laying low in the competition.
Not quite.
No, not really. She doesn't follow anyone's directions ever.
True.
She does what she wants.
Yes.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Lady Caltaine Rompier becomes increasingly jealous of Celaena, convinced that she and Dorian are romantically involved. Working alongside Duke Parrington, Caltaine begins plotting ways to remove Celaena from the competition entirely.
Again, we
She's
talk
a
about
bitch
Caltaine.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, she's so they make the way she's written in. It is so easy to hate her, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
looking back at her now, I can't. But I
know.
did when I first read it. Like I
Yeah.
hated her too. I'm like, this bitch
Yeah.
sucks.
You're like, ew.
Also, reading from her POV in this first book, I was like, get me out of this. I do
Yeah,
not
like, I
want to
don't- her
be
first
in this
POV was-
POV.
Yeah.
Shocking to me. I was like, who's speaking right now?
I
And then I realized that
remember-
it was her.
Poonam was like, you guys, there's gonna be a Caltaine POV and it's gonna like really throw you off. And I remember hitting
Yeah.
it and being like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to hear her thoughts. I don't
No.
care.
I don't want to
Yeah.
be in her head.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
We do end up feeling bad for her. Despite the darkness surrounding her, Celaena reconnects with the parts of herself that she thought she had lost. She begins playing the piano again, something that she loved deeply, and reflects on Sam Cortland, her love, her first love, who died 13 months earlier. Dorian discovers her playing, and during a quiet conversation, she finally speaks about Sam for the first time.
So this was my I put as my favorite part of the book. I think that, like we said, Celaena kind of has a hard exterior, and I think that this is where we really learn her shell cracks a little bit, you know? And Dorian also is kind of a shameless flirt and like messes around with her. You know, they're just like kind of an unserious level of friendship, and this is kind of when they dive deeper into their friendship, and she opens up to him for the first time about Sam and just a little bit more about her past.
Yeah, he comes in and he's like, "What are you playing about a lost love or whatever?"
Yeah,
And
mystery
Yeah.
lover.
she's
He's like,
crying,
"Yeah,
and
actually."
you realize,
She's like, he's
like,
dead.
oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. He's like
He's like, "Ooh, my
immediately
bad."
like
Yeah.
shut down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoopsie. I do agree. I think this is the first time where we see Dorian's capacity to be like a true friend. He's not just some womanizing princeling. He has depth. And then
Mhm.
I would say throughout the series, you just see more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
him.
He gets
That's true.
better. Like he just keeps getting better and better and better.
He's the
I
only
love that.
character so far that I've never disliked.
Same.
Like,
Same.
you've never been annoyed with him?
Yeah.
And it continues that way. We're on the last book now, and there's nothing I
Love.
don't like about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like getting a little spicy. I'm like, oh.
Ooh.
I do like watching him discover himself outside of his role as the prince. You know what I mean? Like being under with his dad and, discovering his individuality a little bit
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
during the series.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do think he holds back because he's afraid of his dad, like genuinely. So that's kind of sad, but it's
Yeah.
like hard to watch. The next competition requires the champions to retrieve a flag while climbing a dangerous structure. During the challenge, Grave deliberately sabotages Knox by cutting his rope after pushing him off the wall. Celaena could easily have won the challenge herself, but instead risks her own victory to save Knox, revealing her growing compassion and sense of loyalty.
I like
I
Knox.
do like this part because this is one of the parts where Celaena is putting forth that she cares about other people and not just herself in this competition. And so
Yes.
she's not just going to let him die. She actually
Yeah.
full on, like, she's going to win it. And then she stops to go save Knox. So I do like
Yeah.
that.
Like she has some humanity to her, That's
She
where
does.
we start to see her humanity.
Yeah. Because her and Knox have like a little friendship going too, Like not
Yeah.
necessarily an
Mhm.
alliance, but like I guess
I feel
kind
like
of an
that was a
alliance.
moment. Yeah, they do. I feel like that was
Yeah.
a moment to show, like that she's not, obviously we know she loves winning, but she's not willing to put that above
Yeah.
saving a friend.
Her humanity comes and goes. For
Yeah,
sure.
it does.
Yes, it ebbs and flows. Okay.
It does.
Yes. She chooses. As Celena's memories of Arabin resurface, we learn more about how he trained her relentlessly from childhood before eventually demanding repayment for every lesson and privilege he had given her. So she
Worst.
lived well, but she really
He
had to
is
pay for it.
first. Yes.
Yeah, he was the worst. He's gross too.
He's disgusting. And he keeps getting
Yeah.
more disgusting. Like,
Yes.
you guys will meet him in the Assassin's Blade, and then he'll pop up again in Queen of Shadows, and he's just
And
so
yeah,
slimy.
Whoever
like I
put
think Michayla, you
slime
put this
ball-
slime ball. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a
Yeah.
slime ball. He's
He
so
is.
gross.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
every
and it
way,
also-
shape, and form. Like, he's just gross.
Yeah.
Yes. And
don't
I
wanna
feel like
yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but
I
I feel
know.
like he is a lot of the reason that Celaena is the way she is because of him, obviously,
Yeah.
because she
Like-
was only 8 when her parents died, and then she was with him for what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
gets a lot
So-
of her trust issues from him. For sure.
A lot of
Yeah.
her issues in general.
Her trauma.
Yeah, like her yes.
Yes.
I mean, she has a lot of trauma, but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hinted that he's like towing the line with her.
With Arabin, when she's like the line between father or friend or lover or
Brother,
whatever, and she's like,
yeah.
it's never
No.
been
Yeah.
specified pretty much. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh.
Those
Yeah.
all three of those words should never be in the same ever.
Yes.
Eh,
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Sick.
Father, lover, brother.
Ew.
Yeah, brother is the other one.
Like brother.
I think
fine.
that is said in the first book
Mentor.
too. Mentor, yeah.
I feel like
Mhm.
Yeah.
mentor is like draw the line there,
Yeah.
Like that's what you
Pick
picture
one.
when you are learning. Like when you think of him initially, you're thinking like mentor, and then in Assassin's Blade, you learn that like that's not the case, and it's like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there's a pretty big age gap too, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's like, I think he's supposed to be like 25 or something. Like, he's supposed to be fairly young when he first
Yeah, he's
gets
like
her.
12 years older than her, like 13 years or something.
Yeah,
Just
so it's
older.
actually not as
significant.
big of an age gap as you would think.
Yeah.
But it's
So in
still
Assassin's
But
Blade,
he's a
he would
young
be, like,
adult and she's a child
30
when they
something.
meet.
yeah. Yeah.
She's
Yeah, yeah.
literally underage.
And then he's in his late 30s.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she even
She's
says
like
that
a
he's in his
third
late
grader.
30s. During preparations for the Samhain feast, Celaena is forbidden from attending, while Nehemia asks Celaena to help improve her reading and writing in the common tongue. During these lessons, Nehemia reveals that the strange symbols near the clock tower are called word marks, ancient symbols connected to a forgotten religion and powerful magic. Celaena later discovers a hidden passageway in her room that leads through the castle and eventually into the Great Hall. After the feast, Dorian visits her chambers but is interrupted by Kale, who sends him away before giving Celaena an amethyst ring from the celebration. It begins increasingly clear that both Dorian and Kale are developing feelings for her.
I'm putting in a poll.
Kale's
And I
like
want-
blocking him.
He is, because he wants her. I'm putting in a
Yeah.
poll. I want everybody to tell us if you are Team Kale or Team Dorian. And if you put Team Kale,
Yes.
you're wrong.
You're
you know
totally
the
wrong.
scene in The Office? I don't know who all has watched The Office, but the scene where Angela's behind Dwight and he's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? She
Yeah.
just like shows up behind him.
Okay,
That's
and they-
literally Kale with Dorian.
I think
Yeah.
Kale even says to Dorian, like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why are you here then?
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah.
doing?
No, 100%. And they both
both
leave
there.
like knowing. They both know. Like, oh. I think Kale at one point is like, oh, I can tell Dorian like has feelings for her. I need to cut off.
Again, a little bit controlling and maybe some codependency problems. I'm just saying.
Definitely
might need therapy.
codependency problems. But in a cute
Okay.
way.
No. She didn't mean that, you guys.
No, I really do love him in Tower of Dawn. One night, Celaena dreams of walking through the secret passageways and discovers a hidden tomb containing the graves of the first king of Otterland, Gavin and his queen, Elena. Surrounded by word marks she encounters the spirit of Queen Elena herself. Elena warns Celaena that an evil force is living within the castle and tells her she must both destroy and win the competition. Before disappearing, Elena gives her a protective amulet. Celaena awakens, believing it is only a dream, until she finds the amulet still clutched in her hand. So it wasn't a dream.
Not
That
a
actually
dream.
happened.
I feel
Or
like
something happened.
anytime Elena is in this book, she's so vague. And it pisses me off because
Yes.
ghosts are always so vague. Why do we
Yeah.
have to, like, can you just give me the details and I'll get it
Yeah.
done?
Yeah, give
I
me
know.
the answers.
She's
Yeah.
like,
Give me
just
the
win the
answers,
competition.
and I'll
Always.
figure it out for you. But I can't help you if you're being vague. That shit
Yeah,
pisses
It's like
me
some
off.
riddle.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And she continues to be that way, which
She's
drives me crazy.
problem. It's
For
just
the
a
next
problem.
time. Yeah. I mean, we're now to the last book and we just
A
found some
problem.
information out, but
Oh
that was
my,
like,
yes, finally.
yes, finally.
She like
She's like,
spills
"Fine, I'll
the
tell ya."
tea. She spills the tea, but
She
oh,
does.
yeah, before that. Soon after, Xavier is found dead, his body horribly mutilated and half-eaten, with word marks discovered nearby. Celaena realizes that Cain somehow knows her true identity. Determined to uncover the truth, she begins researching the word marks and learns about word gates, portals that can open pathways between worlds and allow dangerous creatures to cross into their realm. During her research, she discovers a book called The Walking Dead, which may hold answers to the horrors unfolding in the castle. Amid the growing danger, Dorian and Celaena continue growing closer, spending time together playing billiards and enjoying rare moments of peace. Meanwhile, Celaena becomes even more determined to secure Dorian's affection and future marriage, especially after receiving encouragement from the queen herself.
It made me so sad because she's so excited because the queen is like wanted her to sit with her that day, and she's telling her that she would be a great choice for queen and blah blah blah, and Caltain's eating it up obviously. Also love the billiard scene with Dorian because he of course does the whole like, oh, let me get behind you.
Yes. Yes. Let
me
me
show you
direct
how to play.
Yeah.
You seem like you don't know how to do anything.
The danger within the castle intensifies as more competitors are discovered brutally murdered. Each crime scene is marked with strange word marks and deep claw marks, reinforcing Celaena's fear that something supernatural is hunting within the castle walls. At the same time, Celaena and Dorian continue growing closer, spending more time together and developing a genuine bond. One night, Celaena wakes to find the spirit of Queen Elena standing in her room. Elena warns her once again that she must win the competition and cryptically tells her to look to her right for the answers she needs.
So this doesn't have to do with Elena, but I put this in here because it's not specifically mentioned in here. But my favorite part of the book is when Celaena is on her period and she is telling, I think Kale comes in, she's like, I'm sick. And he doesn't understand. And Dorian is like, oh, she's, like he totally gets it. He doesn't care. He's the sweetest. And he specifically says, like, she moaned into her pillow. Go away, I feel like dying. No fair maiden should die alone, he said, putting a hand on hers. Shall I read to you in your final moments? What story would you like? She snatched her hand back. How about the story of the idiotic prince who won't leave the assassin alone? Oh, I love that story. It's got such a happy ending, too. Why the assassin was really feigning her illness in order to get the prince's attention. Who would have guessed? Such a clever girl, and the bedroom scene is so lovely. It's worth reading for all this ceaseless banter. And I just love that because he doesn't care. And
Yeah.
where most would be like Kale, gross, like weirded out or whatever.
He was like, okay, gotta go.
Yeah,
and
literally.
she was
He's
like,
Yeah.
I'm on my. I forget how they say it, but she was like, I'm on my
Mhm.
period. And he's like, okay, well, I'll leave you alone. And then he just leaves.
Yes.
But Dorian
He's like-
comes and he sits on her bed next to her and he's like, well, you're dealing with me. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I just think
during-
that's so sweet.
During the next challenge, a poison identification test, Celaena realizes Elena's clue referred to Paylor, a competitor seated beside her on her right. With his help, she successfully completes the trial. Meanwhile, Nehemia brings Celaena to the castle kennels, where Celaena learns that a puppy is going to be killed because she's the runt of the litter. Horrified, Celaena begs Dorian to spare the runt. Around this time as well, Caltain's physical and emotional condition worsens, and it becomes clear she has become dependent on smoking opium to cope with her constant headaches and anxiety.
Yes. So I also put in here because I wanted to know like what characters we're suspicious of. And so in this part, it really makes it seem like Nehemia is actually not there to be friends with Celaena, but that she's going to turn bad in a way. And because they talk about how the creature that has been killing off the contestants is probably catching people when they're off on their own. And so it's just Nehemia and Celaena walking in this part, and they're walking down in the dungeons. So that scared me so much. I was like, no, I don't want Nehemia to be bad. But thankfully, she was just leading her to the puppies.
Nehemia later shares devastating news with Celaena. The king of Otterland has captured and executed 500 Eelway rebels. The massacre deeply affects both women and further reveals the cruelty of the king's rule. Dorian, in turn, opens up to Celaena about his own conflict with his father, admitting that he does not support many of his father's decisions.
And this is another spot where we really see Dorian start to be his own person. He starts to have, I mean, he always has opinions, but we get to see that he very much is not when he is
Aligned.
Yes, when he's king, he's going to be his own king. He's not going to follow anything that his dad did.
As Yule Miss approaches, Dorian tells Celaena about an upcoming masked ball, though she is forbidden from attending. During their conversation, he notices the mysterious amulet she wears, and he recognizes it as the Eye of Elena, a legendary artifact said to have protected Queen Elena during her battle against the Dark Lord centuries earlier.
I can't stand that she's not allowed to go to these events.
Also,
like,
don't some of the
Yeah.
other competitors go?
Yeah, I
and
think they all
she's-
do.
Yeah,
they
she's
all
not
do,
allowed to.
except for her, and that's what kills me.
Yeah.
Like they talk about all the other contestants being at these events, and she doesn't get to do anything for Sam Hewen, and she also doesn't for Yule Miss, and so it kills me. And I'm like, is this Kale's decision or is this the king's decision? But like, I
That seems
can't.
like a Kale decision.
I feel like I interpreted it as Dorian.
No, of course you did. That was
'Cause
not his
she's
decision.
his champion. Because she's his champion. Like,
No.
specifically, she's his champion.
Yeah, but I think it's a Kale decision because Kale's trying to protect Dorian. Dorian doesn't care. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like, I mean, she shows up and he is like, "Oh, it's so nice that you're here,
Nice to see you."
And Kale's like,
True.
"What are you doing here?"
Soon after, Celaena discovers word marks hidden beneath her bed and quickly washes them away. Suspicious and unsettled, she goes to the library where she finds Nehemia secretly researching the symbols as well. After Nehemia leaves, Celaena discovers a paper covered in carefully copied word marks, revealing that Nehemia knows far more about the ancient magic than she has admitted. I definitely thought Nehemia was going to be a traitor here.
I did too.
Same.
I feel like
Especially,
there's several
I thought she was going
parts.
to kill her.
well, especially because she starts talking in perfect, like, common language, you know? Like,
Yes.
in this part specifically, she says something to Celaena, and she's like, did she just say that in perfect common
Yes.
tongue? Or, like, did I just
Yeah.
completely, like,
Yeah.
imagine that? And that part, you know, is so stressful because you're thinking like, oh no. And then shortly after, you know, she finds the word marks under her bed and you're like, oh no, but
Something's happening.
I know.
Dorian later surprises Celaena with the puppy she begged him to save, and she names the dog Fleetfoot. And I put in here, Peyton texted me when she got to this part, and she was like,
Did she name her dog Fleetfoot?
And I was like, no, it's Fleetfoot with a T at the end.
I just didn't pick up the you know?
Yeah. Fleetfoot.
And dogs get fleas. So I was like, you know, makes sense.
I just thought it was funny.
That is funny. And then I liked, again, this part is not mentioned in the summary, but it's the part where Dorian, because he's perfect, he leaves a bag of candy. Not just a bag. He leaves like 5 pounds of candy or something like that in this bag. And he says, he picks up the brown bag of candy on the table. He trailed off as he weighed the bag in his hands. Didn't I give you 3 pounds of candy? She smiled impishly. You ate half the bag. Was I supposed to save it? Well, I would have liked some. You never told me that because I didn't expect you to consume it all before breakfast. And I just think it's so funny that she's only 18 years old, right? And she hasn't gotten to live for however long. And she ate 1.5 pounds of candy before breakfast. And her teeth are like bright red.
Yeah.
As the murders continue, Celaena begins to suspect Nehemia may somehow be connected to them. Determined to watch her more closely, Celaena secretly attends the Yule Miss Ball. There, she and Dorian share a dance, and when she leaves, he follows her back to her rooms and finally kisses her.
That's like one of my favorite parts. I love when she crashes the ball. Okay, first of all, I love that Philippa helps her crash the ball and like helps her get ready and like covers for her and everything and just like goes with everything that she says. She's like, okay, you're gonna do this and that and like shove me out of the room and say that I'm late so that the guards like don't question what we're doing. And Philippa goes with it. Like, and I don't know, that part made me happy because she's like, as Michayla was saying, like, we have to remember how young, like, she's 18 and like she just wants to have fun. And it's sad that like obviously she's the only one, like we were saying before, that doesn't get to like partake in this. And she loves a party, we learn in the next book. I will say. And so yeah, that is like one of my favorite parts. So she walks in, everyone's stunned. Dorian like looks up at her and he wants to walk to her. So he's in his head right now. Had Celaena lost her mind, walk to her, take her hand, but his feet were leaden and Dorian could do nothing but watch her. His skin flushed beneath his black mask, because it's a masquerade, which is also so cute. He didn't know why, but seeing her made him feel like a man. She was something out of a dream. So he's like literally stunned. I feel like it's like a Cinderella moment, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. And it was something out of a dream in which he wasn't a spoiled young prince, but a king. She reached the bottom of the stairs and Dorian took a step forward. But someone had already arrived and Dorian clenched his jaw tight enough for it to hurt. She smiled and bowed to Kale, the captain of the guard, who hadn't bothered to wear a mask. Of course he didn't wear a mask.
Kale's just cock blocking left and right, and it just pisses me off.
But Dorian,
not only that, he's the only person who didn't wear a mask to the masquerade ball because that would be too much fun.
Because he's boring.
Oh, Kale.
Yeah, I just love that whole scene. Like I can like picture it in my head, and I love that scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, I like that scene too.
Freaking, I can just see like Dorian going over and then Kale's just like you said earlier.
Just walking right in front.
Yeah.
Like he's always there.
Just
Somehow
cutting
he's
him
always
off.
there. I
Yeah.
mean, this is the ball, so everyone's there, but he is.
He just knows.
always interrupting Dorian's moment.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the castle, Duke Parrington reveals Celaena's true identity to Lady Caltaine and pressures her into helping him in his plan. He instructs her to slip a drug into Celaena's drink before the final duel so that Cain will be guaranteed victory. Continuing her research into the word marks, Celaena uncovers horrifying information. These symbols found near the bodies are connected to sacrifices made to a creature called the Ritterak, a monstrous being summoned through dark magic that devours victims and grants their strength to the summoner.
Yeah, so something I think is super important to note that hasn't really been said is that Cain continues getting bigger and bigger. So not only
Stronger.
Yeah, stronger. So we know it's Cain, but they haven't formally said it yet. Every single time that somebody dies, Cain has gotten broader and bigger and stronger, and Celaena has been noticing it. And so obviously where it says that the Ritterak, it devours the victims and then grants that strength to the summoner. So Cain has now gained the strength of like, I don't even know, 6 or 8 different men. So
It's like
he's
being on
like
testosterone, but worse.
Yes. Yeah.
Way
Like
worse.
8 times stronger than he was.
When the Ritterak first comes up, it's like supposed to be a very big, scary creature. And Peyton, I think you were the one that was like,
I said I was picturing like a
I think you said a
medium-sized
medium-sized dog.
like
But
a
it's
black
because-
lab.
It's because when she
No.
describes him, she describes him as having a lupine face. So immediately you get like the vision of like a dog, but I think that just kind of skewed mine and Pay's vision at least because we weren't seeing like
I wasn't seeing scary
No.
for some reason, even though she's like, it's
So,
terrifying. I'm like, okay, so
for
black
me-
lab, totally terrifying. Like, no, I don't.
I heard lupine and a went straight to Professor Lupin in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Harry
oh,
Potter.
okay, so this thing looks like werewolf Lupin. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is also
I mean, it looks
creepy.
more like that than a black
Yeah.
lab, for sure.
Yeah, but way
I was
taller.
thinking like Sirius Black in his dog form, you know? And you were thinking Professor Lupin.
Maybe a combo, but
Yeah.
way creepier. Really long, gross, spindly arms. Like, just
Really tall.
really tall.
Huge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enormous.
Disgusting.
Following the clues in the hidden passageways beneath the castle, Celaena discovers the truth. Cain has been summoning the Ritterak all along. He traps her underground with the creature, intending for it to kill her. In a desperate fight for survival, Celaena escapes and flees to Elena's tomb, where she takes up Damaris, the legendary sword of King Gavin. Using the ancient blade, Celaena kills the Ritterak and survives the attack. Nehemia shows up and gets her out. Afterward, Celaena finally reveals her true identity to Nehemia, admitting that she is not Lillian Gordana, but Celaena Sardothien herself. In response, Nehemia gives her a new name, Alentia, a title that marks the beginning of a deeper trust and friendship between them. Also, why is she giving her the name Alentia? We already have a character named Elena. Can we switch
There's
it
a
up?
lot of, there's a lot of names
Sorry.
similar to that.
I know. A lot of E's, a lot of Celaena, Elenas. But Alentia at least is a little
Spirit
different.
that
The competition finally reaches its deadly conclusion. As danger closes in around the castle, Celaena warns Nox Owen to leave while he still can, fearing he may become the next victim. Meanwhile, her relationship with Dorian continues to deepen, and the two share another kiss before the final stages of the tournament begin. The last scheduled test is finally canceled, and the remaining competitors are told the final duels will take place the following day. Only 4 champions remain: Celaena, Grave, Renault, and Cain. Cain faces Renault first and wins easily. Then Celaena duels Grave, defeating him in less than 2 minutes and proving just how dangerous and skilled she truly is.
During the first part of this duel on page 352, when Celaena is dueling against Grave in one of the last trials, she reveals her true identity to him. So up until now, he's thought that she's Lillian, some little prissy bitch, and now he knows that she's Celaena Sardothien. And I think she says to him, my name is Celaena Sardothien, but it makes no difference if my name is Celaena or Lillian or bitch, because I'd beat you no matter what you call me. And then she beats him in like 2 seconds, which I love.
Yeah.
I love that. You can tell in that moment that she's literally been holding back the whole time. Like, as much as Kale has said, keep it until the end.
Take it easy.
She's been holding off because she's so good at what she does.
Before her final match against Cain, however, Kaltain secretly drugs Celaena's wine with bloodbane poison as part of Duke Parrington's plan to ensure Cain's victory.
Okay, this part drove me crazy because I knew before anything. I was like, they're giving her wine. They did a whole test on wine and she didn't get the bloodbane's poison because she couldn't sense it.
You couldn't.
And how could you not suspect that might be
and
a
just
thing?
why are we drinking wine mid-competition?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
Why are we having a beverage?
It made me so mad. I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, girl, you should know. Like, you should 100% know. And
she took it from Kaltain of all people.
Yes,
exactly. She hates you.
This is what we're talking about with her decision-making skills. I feel like this is one example. Except for this is one example where she's not in charge, and then she's not thinking about things before she does them. I feel like
she should have known. And again, she's 18, but she should 100% know. Do not drink that. To me, it was simple. I knew something was going to happen immediately.
As soon as they mentioned wine,
I'm out.
The poison weakens Celaena almost immediately, leaving her dizzy, exhausted, and struggling to focus during the duel. Cain uses the opportunity to taunt her psychologically, cruelly asking what it was like to wake up beside her murdered parents covered in their blood. As the fight continues, Celaena begins seeing horrifying creatures surrounding the area. At first, she believes the poison is causing hallucinations, but she soon realizes the creatures are real, though invisible to everyone else. Weak and nearly defeated, she collapses to the floor while Kale desperately shouts for her to get back up. At that moment, Elena appears and drives the creatures away. She removes the poison from Celaena's body, allowing her to regain her strength and continue to fight. Revived, Celaena defeats Cain and wins the title of the King's Champion. During the duel, everyone witnesses a strange word mark appearing on Celaena's forehead, glowing while she fights. After his defeat, Cain attempts to stab Celaena from behind, forcing Kale to kill him in order to save her life. It is the first man Kale has ever killed, and the moment deeply affects him.
Why is Kale captain of the guard and he's never killed a person before?
That was my first thought too. Like, why? That's a fun fact. Yeah, he's captain of the guard, and that's his first kill. Like,
yikes. I do also want to say, just really quick, going back to when Cain brings up her parents, that's the first time we're learning any history about her parents being murdered or dead.
I was going to mention that. We find out, obviously, now we know two things. We know Arabin found her on the bank of a river at 8 years old. And then we know that somehow she must have escaped whatever was happening because she woke up in bed with two dead parents, which is pretty harsh. She has some serious trauma that she works through an air of fire, and it's so beautiful.
In the aftermath, Duke Parrington informs the king that Kaltain was responsible for poisoning Celaena. Nehemia later reveals the truth behind what Celaena experienced during the duel. The creatures were real, and Nehemia could see them, and explains that she was the one who drew the protective word marks beneath Celaena's bed, and that she opened the portal, allowing Elena to cross between worlds and help Celaena during the fight.
Okay, so why didn't you just tell her? Like, I'm so sorry, but she's freaking out because she thinks these word marks, like, someone is murdering people in the castle.
Yeah.
And here,
she's about to be sacrificed next.
She thinks she's going to be murdered. So she's like wiping away. And then on the other side, poor Nehemia, because she has to sneak back into the room and chalk down
every night.
Like, when is she finding the time to do this every day?
I know.
Really quick, going back to Duke Parrington informing the king Kaltain was responsible for the poisoning, I think we should make it clear he frames her.
Yes.
Because he put her up to it.
He specifically gave her the idea, gave her the poison, told her to do it, and then he says that it's
and he's like, she did it.
Yeah.
He's like, it's what? You did that?
He's disgusting. Like, I mean, we find out he's the worst, literal
he's a foul creature.
But he is... Yeah, just everything that he does is so gross, and like the way that he treats poor Kaltain, it just makes you feel for her.
I know, and obviously we learn more about that, but it's messed up.
Yeah.
As the mystery surrounding the castle deepens, we also learn that the king and Duke Parrington are secretly connected to these dark powers. In a private conversation, they discuss Parrington using the power on Caltaine, confirming that the king knew about Kane's actions all along and may be involved in the dark magic himself. Despite their growing feelings for one another, Celaena tells Dorian that they cannot be together, knowing the dangers surrounding both of them and the impossible position their relationship would place them in.
Sad. Sad for Dorian.
That part
Poor
made me
Dorian.
so sad because
So they were together for about 2.5 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
and he did
They made out a few
so many
times.
nice things. He gave her a puppy. He gave her
Oh my God, yeah.
3 pounds of candy. He sat on her bed while she was having lady troubles, and he is so understanding and he danced with her at a ball. Like, girl,
Taught her how to play.
I know.
I was going to say pool, but
Yes, taught her how to play billiards.
yes. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm good." So, anywho, no, actually,
Literally. I was
I
like,
mean,
"What?"
obviously, she's trying to do it for their safety, but
Yeah.
Is she though?
poor Dorian.
I didn't realize this until I re-listened to it again, and it was like I didn't realize it was as deep as it was. I
Like,
didn't realize that he literally is like,
he
"I
liked
love her,"
her.
and blah, blah, blah. Like, he
Yeah.
says he loves her at one point.
I was going to say, I think you might have been in love with her.
Yeah, I was
Really?
like, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, I don't remember it
that
being
either.
it being that deep.
They've known each other for 5 weeks, but okay.
Yeah.
It's true.
Later, Celaena dreams once more of Elena's tomb. She thanks Elena for saving her life, and Elena responds with a mysterious warning: blood ties cannot be broken.
I think people should keep that in mind. Blood ties cannot be broken. That's interesting. That's really
very vague.
interesting. It's very vague, very vague, and
Very
also
vague.
very interesting.
And we
Yes.
will come on back to that at the end
Next
of
week.
the next book.
Yes.
At the end of the novel, Celaena signs her contract with the king. She officially becomes the king's champion and agrees to serve him for 4 years in exchange for the promise of her freedom afterward. These final chapters bring together the novel's central mysteries and relationships, ending with Celaena victorious. But now tied more closely than ever to the dangerous kingdom, hidden magic and dark forces surround her. So this book ends with unresolved romantic tension, growing friendship and trust with Nehemia, hints that magic is returning, the realization that Celena's past and destiny are far more important than anyone realizes.
And that takes us to the end of our deep dive. And when we come back, we're going to rate the book and give our final thoughts before we introduce the second book in the series.
Okay, for my rating of this book, I think I give it a 3.5. I am a very harsh rater, though. Just keep that in mind. It's a young adult novel, and the series does grow quite a bit later in writing style, but this one was just like, you have to read it to get to the good parts of the rest of the series.
I agree. I rate highly always. If you can write well and it's something that I enjoy reading, you're going to get at least a 4. So I gave a 4 out of 5 because there really wasn't anything that I disliked. And honestly, you have to read this to understand the rest of the series. Like, it is essential world building. So 4 out of 5 for me.
I rated the book 3 out of 5 stars, which I guess is the lowest, right? I think there's a lot of development in the characters and writing style and the world in general and future books. So I think that I guess I'm comparing it to other books in the series, but just standalone, I still think, 3 out of 5 stars, just because you know that it's going to get better.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, so initially I said 4 out of 5. I'm going to say like 3.8. I'm going to spruce it up a little bit.
3.8.
Because it is a captivating story. Like, I didn't find myself like drifting off or anything. It did grab my attention. And it's just laying the foundation for the rest of the series, and so it is important information. And I don't know, overall it's like an easy read. I liked it. 3.8.
Yeah. It was
It is
easy
a
to get
very
through.
easy read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's an easy to understand world. I think sometimes with world building, especially, I mean, she had 8 books to like build it for you, you know?
really?
And so if it's a shorter series, I think sometimes it can get a little jumbled and confusing. But I think she did a good job, especially for the fact that she was so young when she wrote it is crazy.
I think would I recommend this book? Yes, only because you have to read the first one in order to get to the larger payoff of the rest of the series. If this was a standalone book, no, I would not recommend it. That's a hot take, probably.
I would for sure recommend it because you have to know that every book gets better. And so it just with being a first book in a series, I feel like you can't not read it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I feel like it's a fun, like, quick read, and it just I don't know, it for me, it left me, like, wanting to get to the next book.
I also said I would recommend it. I already have recommended it to a few people. I think it's good if you prefer like multiple POVs, not as much romance. Like I'm kind of talking about the whole series at this point too.
Mhm.
Um, just because I mean you learn about a lot of different people and I think in the ACOTAR series when it did this, since that was my first series where the POVs change and it goes to third person and stuff, I feel like I didn't like it as much, but for some reason in this book I've not minded it and I like hearing about other people's POVs.
I think that we could probably recommend this book to people if they liked ACOTAR. I would say you'll probably like this series. Um, Obviously, it's the same author, but I would be prepared if you've already read ACOTAR, I'd be prepared going into Throne of Glass because there's a lot less spice. I would say I don't even think there's any physical on the page sex scenes until book 6 of this series.
Mhm.
Um, so obviously the spice doesn't ramp up until much later, and I would say that this series has a lot more high fantasy elements in general. ACOTAR was like kind of easy to get into, and I think this one is a bit more complicated.
The world is definitely more complicated because you have that multi POV where
Mhm,
ACOTAR is all from Feyre's perspective. There's so many different pieces and different parts and people in different places, and so it's, like, all about how they're gonna come together in the end, and so it is definitely a lot more to take in, for sure.
mhm,
I also think that ACOTAR is very romance focused.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's very romantic-y, and like you said, this is more high fantasy, and so you definitely get some love stories and, but just not as much, I feel like. It's the story isn't about the love story
Mhm.
with ACOTAR, it is.
Yeah.
That's kind
yeah.
of what the full story is focused around,
Yeah, it's, like,
so
revolving around that, yeah.
yeah, so if you prefer a romanticy, spicy style book, I feel like then you would not necessarily enjoy this series, but it is enjoyable as far as the world and there's a lot of detail.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Throne of Glass Book 1 episode. If you enjoyed our banter, please be sure to subscribe, leave a comment or review, and feel free to share our tiny book club with another book lover. Next week, we will be diving into Crown of Midnight, the second book in this series. We plan to continue our coverage of the Throne of Glass books until we've completed all of the books. Please know that as a group, we have not yet finished the last few books. We're all in different places. This is our first time reading the series, and we are really enjoying getting to experience it together. So please keep the comments spoiler free if you have finished the last book, and feel free to join along as we experience this series for the first time. There's still plenty of time to catch up. Both Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight are quick reads. Please let us know in the poll below if you are Team Dorian or Kale. We will see you next week.